Hello and welcome back. Well, welcome. Welcome to Choose Happiness, Choose You on, of course, the Win-Win Women Network, or better, multimedia provider to help you find happiness, find answers to all sorts of things that matter to us women. I'm Dr. Natalie, and I am, of course, your hostess. I am also an intuitive transformational mentor. In other words, I am a revolutionary rule breaker. What does that mean? That means that I help you, guide you, show you how you can find happiness, find yourself, find love, confidence, trust yourself again, and thereby create the life that you really desire and deserve. All right, today I want to dive right into a subject that keeps coming up every single year. And it is also a subject that differs in many countries. It's a cultural thing. And as we know, with some cultural things, they start in one place and then they sort of migrate all over the place. In this instance, that has happened too. Because I remember when I was young, a long time ago, that in my country, Germany, we didn't really do anything about this one day. And then when I moved over to the United States, it was everywhere. Even the kids in school would make time to prepare for this special day. And then I started really looking a little deeper into it, not just this day, but any kind of days that are celebratory. And you know what I found? And you can see it all over social media right now. You can see that almost every single day is a special day. We're celebrating something every day. Whether it is Pancake Day, whether it is International Give a Hug Day, every single day. And sometimes we actually celebrate, supposedly, more than one thing on one single day. So, of course, being the historian that I am, trying to find the root of everything as a historian, but also as your intuitive mentor, trying to get to the root cause of things, I tried to figure it out. And of course, there are many different options in which to explain that or get to this. Well, here's one thing that I'd like to share with you. There seems to be a at least partial economic-driven idea behind many, many, many of the celebratory days. And we'll talk more about them from time to time. Today, of course, long introduction, short, I want to talk about Valentine's Day. Yes, the V-Day. Now, don't get me wrong, for historians, V-Day means something very, very different, okay? We're talking about war. But in our personal lives, and this is where it all comes together, V-Day, of course, is very different. V-Day is the one with the hearts, is the one with the flowers, is the one with, yes, you guessed it, the chocolate. And let's not forget, in some countries, with the jewelry. Now, I'll be honest right off the bat, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I don't. That's me. Of course, I have to give a caveat there. I do give a little card to my daughter and to my mom. That's pretty much it. Reason for that is what I think is the root cause of this whole thing. Historically speaking, there are lots of reasons for Valentine's Day. I mean, be my Valentine, of course. It sounds cute, it sounds great. And yet, if we're looking at it, who really benefits from Valentine's Day? Well, business. Just putting it clearly out there. That's why I'm a revolutionary rule breaker. So business profits because there are advertisements in some countries, especially in the US, but I've seen it more and more in Europe as well. And I cannot speak to countries such as India or China or even Australia. I have not done the research. So take that with a caveat. But I have noticed that there are advertisements about what you have to do on Valentine's Day, or you will be in the doghouse. I can just imagine the pressure. It used to be the pressure for guys, but it has turned. It's for anybody who's in a relationship, and not just a love relationship nowadays. Now it's also about friends. Apparently, there was not enough money to be made in just having the love relationships. So my daughter in the US school would always prepare Valentine's card, and there had to be a little gift with it. But that all costs money. Not that I mind that. However, who are you really choosing when you follow the pressures that society puts on you? Are you really choosing you? Aside from the fact that prices skyrocket for flowers, chocolate, jewelry, and even to go to the restaurant. All of those prices all of a sudden skyrocket. I actually did an experiment with that with my daughter to demonstrate to her what's happening. We went to the grocery store, to the flower shop actually, a few weeks before Valentine's Day. It wasn't even on the calendar officially. We looked at the prices. We went a day before and on Valentine's Day. Whee! And a day later. Woo. Point taken, right? Okay, so who are you choosing for Valentine's Day? Are you giving in to the pressures? Are you actually, by giving in to the pressures, which may be your choice, creating unhappiness for you? I think that is a question we really need to consider. We need to figure out, why are we doing some of the things that we're doing? And Valentine's Day is just one of those many things. Do you really want to give your love partner chocolate, flowers, anything, even a book? Do you really want to do it? Awesome. Of course, most of us do. We love giving things away to our friends, our loved ones. Absolutely. But do you want to do it on Valentine's Day? If not, why are you? Because if you're doing it on Valentine's Day, due to the pressure, due to the idea that you should, a word I don't like, then you're not choosing yourself. You might actually not even be choosing your partner. You might be choosing society. Again, it's a choice. But I always invite you to consider, why are you doing what you're doing? Now, don't get me wrong. As I said, I love giving things to my loved ones, my family, my friends, absolutely, all the time. Yet on the day that I'm supposed to, I have a really hard time, really, really, really hard time. Not just because I believe it is driven by business, also because I don't like someone to tell me when and how I should show my feelings. Society does that all the time, right? Don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. Well, again, rule breaker. So if you feel like sharing on Valentine's Day something, awesome. If you're only doing it because of the pressures, then I'm asking you to stop and think. You know, one of the first things that I did with one relationship that I had was like, no, don't buy me anything for Valentine's Day. Actually, with every relationship, because I said no. I don't want you to give me something on the day that society tells us to, because I can never be 100% sure if you're giving it to me because you want to or because you have to. I know in a good relationship, in a loving relationship, we can assume, a safe assumption, I would say, that the other person really wants to give us something. Why wait to Vday? And if I am concerned about the pressures for myself or for my partner, or in that matter, for my child, then we have the opportunity to address that. Some of us, quick sidetrack here, may not be able to even afford all of the things that we're supposed to do. I mean, if one day a rose is $1 and the next day it's $10, how are you supposed to do that? There are other expenses. Leave alone having to buy jewelry. Where is the limit? Because it all started with a card, right? Initially, it was a card. Then it was a card and chocolate. Then it was a card and chocolate and flowers. Then it was a card and chocolate and flowers. And it just, the game is being up-leveled all the time. To whose benefit? Returning to the question, who are you choosing when you're giving in to those pressures? If you want to choose you and your own happiness, you have the right, and I would even say the obligation, to talk to your loved ones, to your partner, to whoever wants to do something for you, and actually address the issue with love, of course. You want to address the issue and make clear that, yes, you want to give them something whenever you feel like it. Yes, you love them so much, there's nothing in the world that can ever change that. Yes, you want to take them out to dinner. Whatever you feel in your heart, you want to do all that. Yet, you're not sure that you want to do it on that assigned date. We can talk about that, especially in our most intimate relationships with our loved one, our partner, our children. We need to address the issue. Because if we don't choose ourselves in that instance, what are we teaching our kids? They are just going to have to also play the up-leveling game for, in this instance, Valentine's Day. That just doesn't resonate with me. So let's assume that you have enough money, you could do all that. You could buy the flowers that are 10 times as expensive. You could receive gifts from your partner because you have enough. Is that really something you treasure on that day for you and from your partner? Or is it something where you say, oh, great, thank you so much. And you go to Instagram and post it. Look what I got. I got more than you did. I apologize. That was not meant as an offense, but you know, some people do that. And then you put it away. And every year on Valentine's Day, you take it back out. And in the back of your mind, every time you look at it, you wonder, was that a gift from the heart? Or was that a gift based on pressure? That could become a nagging little question. And that question, of course, would only come up if we have self-doubt. Not even necessarily doubt in our partner, but self-doubt. Are we really worth all of that? How would you react if your partner gave you a beautiful, beautiful homemade card to Valentine's Day instead of, I don't know, a diamond ring or 2 bouquets of flowers that have been sent to you. How would you react then? This goes to our values, right? So your partner sat down for like half an hour, and created something for you. Do you value that as much as something that is expensive? The answer is not right or wrong. The answer is not, I prefer a homemade card over a bar of chocolate or over a bouquet of flowers. The question is, what is right for you? And if your partner doesn't know what is right for you, your partner can't get it right. Your partner is going to try and figure it out. I know that in many, not most, not all, in many long-standing relationships, there is an agreement. Over time, you begin to settle in, okay, we're just going to go to dinner, or we're just going to have a nice dinner at home. That's awesome. I recommend having that conversation straight from the start, especially if you're entering in a new relationship. Because we pretend so much, don't we? So in a new relationship, I believe it is especially important to sit down and have that conversation with your love interest for now, because we're not at the real relationship state, right? And just say, hey, how do you feel about Valentine's Day? And when you're talking with your love interest, later on with your partner, watch their arms, their hands, their posture. Because in some countries of the world, it is all about the pressure. It is, oh my gosh, she's asking me because she wants to know if I'm going to spend a lot of money on her, but I don't really have any money. So, then they're trying to figure out the right answer for you. It's almost like being in a classroom, right? Where I used to teach. So we're in a classroom, the students are looking for the right answer. Well, sometimes there is no right answer. If you're doing thinking, critical thinking, there is not necessarily a right answer. You're asking for an opinion, for a personal insight. So when you sit down to have that conversation about Valentine's Day, for example, you need to first know yourself. You need to know if you want to, for yourself, participate in Valentine's Day. And then you need to know for yourself how you want to participate in Valentine's Day. That means you have to start out with you. You have to start out with choosing you, so that then you come from a place of, I know myself, I know what I like. That is my part of me being happy. Now let's look at what resonates with you, and let's then combine it. Because you may have a partner who wants to participate in it all while you don't. Then probably we're going to have to find a middle ground. And that's okay. Absolutely okay. Because it's all about negotiation. It's all about perspective. So if in this conversation, it turns out your partner really wants to do all that stuff, or at least parts of it, then you also know your partner's expectations and hopes. And doesn't it add to our happiness if our partner smiles, is excited, is happy? I'm not saying, you've heard me say this before, I'm not saying we can make our partner happy. I don't believe in that. Check the other shows. I don't believe in that. However, we can add to their happiness, because we're coming from a place of happy. I know myself, I love myself, I embrace myself, I know what I want, and I'm open to hearing what you want, and I'm open from a place of self-love and self-confidence to figure out how we can make this work for us. That's where you're choosing you're choosing happiness, and then you're bringing the other person in. And sometimes it may actually work the other way. It may be that your partner brings it up first. Or, we're all women, right? Maybe your child brings it up first, because in school, they're supposed to create Valentine's cards. And your child's like, Mama, I'm supposed to write this card, this Valentine's card for so-and-so, and I really don't like him or her. I really don't. What am I supposed to write on there? And you can see that your child is really uncomfortable, because in a sense, you're asking your child to not be honest. And so the same goes for you, obviously. So what do you tell your child? Well, most likely, because if the child is younger, is not quite ready to make that decision by him or herself, you're going to advise them to just go with the flow, and you're going to explain to them, well, see, it's a pre-bought card. Use the one that is the least touchy, something like, you're a good person, instead of, I love spending time with you. Spend a little less time on making the card look pretty. Don't add anything to it, but just do it because it is pretty much an official assignment from the school. And since it's an official assignment of the school, it serves two purposes. Number one, you're supposed to do it and you might get graded for it. And number two, you're beginning to be indoctrinated. So when you grow up, honey, you're going to fall into this as well. At the same time, you can start having that conversation with your child, because your child might see or hear that other parents are buying stuff, that other moms are buying stuff, that other dads are buying stuff, that other families have a big party for Valentine's Day, and you don't. You can then explain why, if that is your choice. But what I just want you to take away from today on the subject of who do you choose on Valentine's Day is the fact that, as much as I'm a rule breaker, we all have a choice. We don't have to participate in officially assigned celebratory days. And that is perfectly fine, as long as your choice is yours, is based on you knowing, loving, and embracing yourself, and is clearly communicated with love to anybody else who may be involved in this. That's where you co-create, where you create your happiness, where you co-create or create, obviously, the other person's environment to add to their happiness. That's how it all starts. And part of choosing you and choosing happiness, creating the life you desire and deserve, means taking a new look at what is happening in society and evaluating if that is something you do or don't want to participate in. And then deciding why. Again, I'm just inviting you today to think about it. I'm not telling you it's right or wrong. This is a judgment-free zone. I'm not telling you what to think or how to think. I am asking you to think and reevaluate, and then come to a decision that is clearly your own. Then you come from that point of, as I said, self-confidence and strength. And you can go to a conversation. You can walk by the highly expensive flowers or the jewelry store without feeling guilty, because you know that when you feel like it, you won't buy it. And you may feel like it on Vday, and you may not feel like it on Vday. And either way, it is absolutely perfectly fine. That's just the way it is. It is and always remains your choice. I can't stress that enough, because I want you to be happy. And the only way that that happens is when you choose yourself. Everything starts here. Everything. And since it starts here, it's important that we take the time, that we make the time to reconnect with our brilliant selves. Every single one of you, every single one of me, if that were possible, has a reason for being here. I know why I'm here. I'm here to help guide you back to your brilliance so that you can live your life your way. And that means you choose you, you define and choose your happiness, and you define and choose your success. Because you can't have success without happiness. You can't have happiness without success. And they all just have to align. They have to be yours by definition, not society's. So you have a choice on V-Day and any other day. And I'm asking you to always, always, always start with you. That requires a little bit of courage, which can be at times difficult to get to, because so many of us have been trained not to nurture ourselves first, not to care for ourselves first. Many of us have been trained to think about others first, which is, of course, important in a society. And yet we still have to choose ourselves in order to create our happy world. And we can have our happy world in the midst of whatever might be going on. I just got the question the other day. How do you always smile and look so happy? Even when it's raining for 4 days straight, even when the world seems to be falling apart. Well, it's all here. Yes, there are days when I don't want to get out of bed. And yes, there are days when I wonder what is the world doing. And yet, it is here that I reside and that my happiness resides. Because I've done the work of knowing myself. I know what works and what doesn't work for me. I know how to be happy and what adds or doesn't add to my happiness, because happiness resides here too. Of course, this is a journey that we're all on, an evolution. And I'd love to talk to you where you are in your evolutionary process right now, and how you can move to another stage. I don't want to say to the next stage, to another stage where you know yourself better, where you have more self-confidence, where you come from a place of self-love and self-trust, which is so, so crucial. And therefore, I invite you to go over to the Win-Win store. I have a laser-focused transformation session there for you, where you and I talk one-on-one, identifying your specific areas where we need to focus and how to move to the next stage. One-on-one, create an action plan, identify where you want to go. I help identify you some resources so that you can know yourself, love yourself, and embrace yourself, because those are necessary for you to go out there and claim, reclaim your happiness. And that's what I want for you, Choose you, choose happiness. And let's see how amazing your life will be. I'll see you next time.